Yeah, how it's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yeah, how it's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yeah, how it's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yeah, how it's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yeah, how it's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yeah, how it's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yeah, how it's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your me, I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness.
Shalom, Israel, shalom. Welcome to another edition of Bible Basics. Salakia. Welcome to another edition of Stick to the Script. This Thursday night, I am your teacher, Shahad Amath, and to my right is your reader.
Hezron.
And the title of the class for this evening is Rest in the Most High. And so we're gonna learn how to actually rest in the Most High, right? I have come to realize that I am much more of a visual learner than I previously thought. So I put together a presentation. So we're gonna try it out, see how it works. All right. So let's go on head over to the presentation. Resting in the Most High. This is trusting in Yahweh when the world demands you worry. And we're going to touch on Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, Psalms 55, 22, and Psalms 37 and 7, as well as some other precepts, all right? And this is what we are going to learn today. We're going to define rest, the foundation scriptures, when we fail to rest. These are biblical warnings and real world consequences of anxiety, worry, and self-reliance, right? So we're going to learn what happens when we fail to rest in the Most High. We're going to get some biblical examples. We're going to talk about some modern application and some steps that we can take, some actionable steps that we can take to make sure that we are resting in the Most High. So this is the foundation of rest, right? And it is, go ahead and read that, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding.
Read.
In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
So it says to trust in the Lord with all thine heart, right? Which basically means with thy mind. Trust in the Lord with everything. So the trust that you have should be in the Most High, that understanding that he is in control of everything, and he is the reason for everything, right? And it says, lean not on thine own understanding, right? That trust is batah. and it's H982, and it's to trust, be bold, be secure, feel safe, right? You with this type of trust is a strong understanding, right? This is a belief. You are concrete. You are firm in this understanding, right? And you are confident in this understanding because this is what it is, right? This is how you be secure and how you feel safe in trusting in the Most High, right? Because you understand that He is going to do what He said He's going to do, and He's going to take care of you. He's going to bless you if you do well by Him, right? If you do His will, right? And so Sha'an is lean, right? And it's H8172, and it's to lean, to lie, rely, rest on, and stay, right? And so that's what the lean not onto thine own understanding is talking about, right? It's talking about not relying, not counting on, and not believing that you know what's best, right? But to trusting in the Most High and believing on Him first, right? And we're going to look at ways on how to practically do that, right? And He shall direct thy paths, right? Direct is Yashar, and it's H3474. And what that means is that the Most High is going to be straight, be level, be right, be upright, right? He's going to make our paths right, true. He's going to ensure that the way that we are going is the proper way, right? If we're trusting in Him, He's not going to lead us astray. So what does it mean to rest in the Most High, right? It's not a physical activity, right? So it's not a lot of people hear rest and what they think about is a suspension of labor, right? A suspension of doing things, right? It's not a situation where you don't feel like going into work, so you're just gonna stay home from work and turn the outcome over to the Most High, right? It's not laziness or passivity, right? It's not about not doing something. It doesn't mean stop working. It doesn't mean stop planning. It doesn't mean stop moving. It is contrary to these things, right? It means to do these things. You are still supposed to plan things out. You're still supposed to be organized. You're still supposed to think about the long-term outcome, right? And plan on the best long-term outcome, right? And then we still have commandments. We still have to keep these laws. We still have to serve our families. And because of those things, we still have to be diligent with our labor, right? It is a position of the heart, right? So it is something that you decide in your mind that this is how you're going to move, right? And in your mind, you make a decision that you're not going to compromise on doing these things, right? Moving outside of this path is no longer a possibility for you, right? And you have to seal that in your mind, and we'll show you how to go about sealing that understanding in your mind and making it concrete and making it as strong as it needs to be, right? So that you are able to get that rest. It's a complete surrender, right? When you trust with all thine heart, with your mind, it means that you don't have a backup plan that's outside of the Most High's plan, right? Your first plan and then the backup plan, if you have, is going to the Most High, right? So the first thing that you should ever do with anything, with any major decisions, is to trust in the Most High. And practically what that looks like is you pray first, right? You don't walk into a situation or go into a situation and say, I'm going to figure this out. We don't have to take that on ourselves, right? It's literally first thing that you do is I'm turning this over to the Most High. I'm going to trust that He is going to guide my path. I'm going to pray about it. That's the first thing that you do is pray, right? That's how you surrender to the Most High. You know, when you wake up in the morning, it's not about what it is that you want to get done today. It's surrendering to the Most High and saying, you know, this is your day, right? Guide my path. Show me what it is that you will have me do, right? And then you get to doing that diligent work, right? Let's get Psalms 37 and 7.
This is the book of Psalm, chapter 37 and verse 7. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way.
So it says rest in the Lord, right? And that rest is H1826. And that rest means to be silent, be still, wait. It implies quieting the soul before Yahweh and ceasing from striving, right? So the striving is doing His will, right? And the rest is an outcome of the diligent work that you're doing, seeking His will, right? And so that rest is a calming of your internal nervous system, right? Because you have this faith, because you've turned it over to the Most High, now you're able to rest your mind. You're able to rest all of the what ifs. You're able to rest all of the anxiety. You're able to rest all of the things that don't bring you this peace. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't have to be stressful. You don't have to allow this thing to stress you anymore. You don't have to have anxiety about it because you turn it over to the Most High. And you're able to do this with faith, with confidence, when you're doing what it is that the Bible commands us to do, right? When you're following in His footsteps, when you're ceasing from striving to do His will, right? That's when you have that confidence to say, I believe that I'm worthy of your blessing, and so I'm able to get a certain amount of peace by turning it over to you and trusting that Most High willing, you're going to make my path right. You're going to resolve whatever issue it is that we have, right? Grab Psalms 55 and 22. Another way to rest on the Most High is to cast your burden upon Him, right? And so what that is it's a freeing of the weight that we tend to hold on our shoulders, on our bodies, from stress, from anxiety, from issues that we feel are outside of our means or taxing, right? Read that.
It's the book of Psalm, chapter 55 and verse 22. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved.
So it's clear there. It says, cast thy burdens upon the Lord, right? So cast your burdens upon the Most High, and He shall sustain thee. He's going to take care of you, right? And He's never going to suffer the righteous to be moved, right? So the key there is that He's talking about the righteous. And in order to be righteous, you have to be doing His will. You have to be keeping the commandments, right? So cast is shalak, and it's H7993, and it means to throw, to cast, to hurl, to fling, right? It's not a gentle placement, right? But it's a forceful read, right? It literally means like taking that weight off your shoulders and throwing it, right, to the Most High. You take anything off your shoulders to throw it, it's not gentle, right? You're putting your upper body and you're putting your muscle into it, right, to get it off of you and to get it where you need it to go. And that's the same way that we should be offloading our burdens, right? And that burden is Yahab, and it's H3053. And that is it's a burden. It's what you've been given, right? Your burden is what life has handed you. So the situations that you find yourself in that are undesirable, right? Whether it's financial stress, family troubles, or persecution, right? Because we're going to be tested, right? But when we are tested, the Most High has said, give your burdens, give those tests over to me, right? Trust in me, do my will, and I'll handle them for you, right? So it's not a situation where we have to carry those burdens ourselves, right? Or we have to figure it out ourselves. And it says, and he shall sustain thee, right? That sustain is H3557, and that is to contain, to hold, to sustain, to provide, to nourish, right? The Most High is going to do all of these things. This is how he is going to bear the weight of our burden. And he's going to provide whatever it is that we need to be able to endure, right? If we trust in him, if we cast thy burdens upon him, right? And this is another step in how we go about getting that rest, right? It's a promise. He made a promise to the righteous. It said he shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Those keeping the commandments have the covenant promise. Yahweh will not let you be shaken beyond recovery, right? So any trial or tribulation that you're put into, he's going to make sure that you're able to get through it, right? He's going to give you exactly what you need. Security in the hand of the Most High. Let's go back to the presentation. Let's get Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3 and verse 1 when you're ready.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3 and verse 1. But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of God, and there shall no torment touch them.
So this is just another reaffirming scripture from the previous verses, letting us know that the souls of the righteous are in the hand of the Most High. So our souls, us who are righteous, us who are keeping the commandments, right? Us who are doing his will, we don't have to worry about our souls because the Most High has got our backs, and he's not going to let us be tormented beyond what it is that we can bear, what it is that we can handle, right? It says the righteous, those keeping the commandments, are held securely by Yahweh, right? The world may afflict our bodies. You can read in the Bible about the world afflicting the bodies of the righteous, right? And how they were able to sustain, right, and able to continue to do the will of the Most High. But the souls remain protected. Those souls, those who were righteous to the end, the Most High is going to take care of those, right? No spiritual torment can touch these under his covenant, right? So under the cover of the Most High, you're not going to be able to be touched by wickedness. That's what the scripture says. And the Greek, it is basanismos, and that's G929. It means torture, torment. The wicked are gonna test us, right? Because the Most High uses the wicked to test us. But Yahweh is our shield, right? He is going to protect us and make sure that we're able to endure. Let's go to Job chapter 11 and verse 18.
This is the book of Job, chapter 11, verse 18. And thou shalt be secure because there is hope. Yeah, thou shalt dig about thee, and thou shalt take thy rest and safety.
So security comes from the Most High, right? Because he is the ultimate power. He has the ultimate power to secure and cover who he desires and to not who he doesn't desire. And you can see examples of that all over, all in the Bible. Every time the Israelites were obeying the Most High and keeping his commandments, he would give us victory over our enemies, right? But anytime we turned our heads, and we often turned away, that's when he allowed our tormentors, our enemies, to come upon us, right? And that's when we didn't have that peace, right? That's when we didn't have that security, is because we turned away from doing the Most High's will, right? It says when we have confident expectation in his promises, we can labor, dig about thee with peace, right? Labor becomes peaceful because we know that our efforts are going to be rewarded. Work becomes rest when trust undergirds our efforts, right? And the Hebrew is betah, and it means security, safety, confidence. And it's the same root as the trust in Proverbs 3 and verse 5. Proverbs 3 and 5? We read it in the beginning. That's the trust in the Lord with all thine heart, right? We can see let's get actually Acts 2 and 26. We're going to see, this is Peter.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 2, and verse 26. Therefore did my heart rejoice, and my tongue was glad. Moreover, also my flesh shall rest in hope.
So Peter is talking about that rest that he has in the Most High because of the laboring, because of the work that he puts in and the trust that he has, right? And that is, let's grab Psalm 16 and 9.
This is the book of Psalm, chapter 16, and verse 9. Therefore my heart is glad, and my glory rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope.
So this is a psalm of David, right? And Peter is actually quoting David in when he says in Acts 2 and 26, right? So he's showing that David's words pointed to the resurrection of hope. For us as Israelites, this hope is not wishful thinking, right? It's something that we can believe and trust in, right? It's a confident expectation that the Most High's promises of restoration, redemption, and resurrection are going to come true, right? That's why we do what we do. That's why we keep the commandments, because we trust what this book says. And Shakan is H7931, and it's rest or dwell, right? And that is to settle down, abide, to dwell. Your flesh can settle into peace when it's anchored by hope, right? So you lose that anxiety, you lose that stress. You're able to actually relax, not like relax knowing that I have to get up in the morning and go to work. Not relax knowing that, you're going to be working for the next 10 years to try to be able to put away enough money to retire with some comfortability. No, it's a complete relaxation knowing that everything from your flesh to your spirit is going to be taken care of by your Father, the Most High. That's the type of rest. That's the type of dwelling that's the type of rest that we should be able to achieve. That's what the that's what this rest in hope is talking about, right? This kenosi is G2681, and it's to pitch a tent, to encamp, or to dwell, right? Even the body finds repose in covenant of hope, right? And the pattern is it's a glad heart, right? A rejoicing tongue, resting flesh. It's inner trust manifests outward peace, right? So when you have that inner trust, when you have that belief in the scriptures, belief in the work that you're putting in, what that looks like is you are a peaceful person. You don't get ruffled very easily. You don't get bothered very easily. You're not a terribly excitable person, right? You don't really move in a way that causes any conflict or rifts, but you're just one of those people who kind of has a peaceful spirit. People want to be around you, right? You're a good example. You're putting in your effort in your community, and you're able to sleep well at night because you have this peace, right? You're able to actually get the kind of rest that a lot of us aren't really able to because of the environments that we live in, because of the circumstances that we're in, and you know, unfortunately, a lot of times because of the effort that we're putting in or lack thereof, right? But we're getting examples of how to get above and beyond that, right? Grab me Psalms 38 and 3, and we're gonna get some examples of what happens when we fail to rest.
This is the book of Psalm, chapter 38 and verse 3. There is no soundness in my flesh because of thine anger, neither is there any rest in my bones because of my sin.
So sin disrupts rest, right? When we walk in disobedience, when we're not obedient to the Most High, that's when anxiety comes our companion, right? The body itself testifies against us. Sleeplessness, stress, physical ailments, right? These are all manifestations of our inability to rest. Go ahead and go back to the presentation. Hold Ecclesiastes 2 and verse 23. So this is saying, this Psalms 38 and 3, because the Most High is not pleased with us, he's not offering that rest, that peaceful rest, that comfort in knowing that he has us, right? Because we're not being obedient, right? And that manifests in a lot of different ways. That looks like anxiety, right? It looks like stress, gaining weight from lack of sleep or lack of good quality sleep, because sometimes we can get, you know, a good 7-8 hours of sleep, and because it's not quality of sleep, because it's a light sleep, right? Because you're not cycling through the sleep cycles, you wake up feeling like you didn't get any sleep at all. You wake up almost as tired as you were when you went to sleep, and that's another manifestation of the kind of symptoms that can happen when we're not doing our part, when we're not doing what we're supposed to do, right? The body itself testifies, right? So the body will let us know when we're failing that ability, being able to rest in the Most High, right? And there's a cycle of restlessness, and it's sin, guilt, anxiety, more striving, more sin, right? Only returning to the commandments breaks this cycle, right? So only doing what the Most High has told us to do can get us out of this cycle of restlessness, right? And it's these physical manifestations are just that, right? They're symptoms of what happens when we fail to rest. Chronic stress, high blood pressure, insomnia, anxiety disorders. Science confirms what the scripture teaches us about the cost of restlessness, right? Go ahead and read that, Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 23. For all his days are sorrows, and his travail grief. Yeah, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also vanity.
It's vanity, right? Because your heart, your mind's not able to rest at night. It's vanity because you're not able to get to that peaceful place because you're worrying too much, because you're carrying too much of your burden on your own, because you haven't yet turned it over to the Most High. You haven't yet committed to trusting and believing that the Most High will work it out for you, right? So you're having a difficult time sleeping, and it's because of the audacity that you have. It's because of the belief in your abilities rather than trusting in your Father, which the scriptures teach us to do, right? And there's spiritual consequences to this, right? It says, chasing after the world's success without Yahweh leads to sleepless nights and grief-filled days. And I'm sure a lot of us have experienced, hopefully we're not continuing to experience that after lessons like this, right? Worldly labor without spiritual foundation, it's vanity, it's vain, it's you believing in your power rather than trusting in the Most High, right? That's what makes it vain, and that's something that the Most High does not like, right? And the spiritual consequences are you distance yourself from the Most High. You actually pull yourself away from the Most High. You have a weakened prayer life. You're vulnerable to temptations, and you lose the peace that marks covenant children, right? You lose that peacefulness that is recognizable with Israelites who are able to trust and rest in the Most High. Peace is for the upright. Go to Isaiah 57:2.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 57, and verse 2. He shall enter into peace. They shall rest in their beds, each one walking in his uprightness.
Each one walking in his uprightness, right? So you're going to enter into peace. You're going to have rest. You're actually going to have good rest in your bed because you are walking in your uprightness, right? Because of the way that you are moving, because of your integrity, because of your righteousness, because of your commitment to doing the will of the Most High. You will be able to walk uprightly, right? You'll be able to be confident in your ability to rest in the Most High, right? Uprightness it's a promise. This promise is for those walking in uprightness, right? And that is H5228, and it means straightness, right, integrity. Rest is the reward for obedience to the commandments, right? So literally, we get to ease ourselves of burdens, ease ourselves from temptations, ease ourselves from all the things that do us harm when we are obedient to the Most High, right? We get to enter into peace. Peace is not just an abundance of absence of conflict. It is shalom. And that's H7965, and it means completeness, soundness, welfare, peace. The upright enter into a state of total well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually at peace, right? It's a completeness, it's a soundness, sounding meaning that there are no, what's the word I'm looking for? meaning that it's whole, it's full, it's complete. There's no room for error. There's no room for blemish. There's no room for impurities, right? And it says, they shall rest in their beds, right? In contrast with what we read in Ecclesiastes 2:23, where the heart taketh not rest in the night, the righteous can actually sleep peacefully, not tossing and turning, not anxious with overwhelming thoughts, right? In Proverbs 3:24 confirms, when thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid, yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet, right? So when you are upright in keeping these commandments, you get that peaceful sleep that's sweet, right? You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have any cares anymore other than doing the will of the Most High. Nothing can touch you, and when you have that comfort, that's the thing that brings you peace, right? Peace being the idea that nothing can touch you because the Most High has you, right? Abraham, he was the father of faith, right? He was one of our greatest examples of faith in the Bible, right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 15. Start at verse 5.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 15, and verse 5. And he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be.
And so, the Most High is asking asking Abraham, saying, look, because you don't have the ability to number the stars in heaven, right? It's a number that is well outside of your comprehension, right? The amount of stars that are in the sky. And what he's saying is your offspring is going to be that same type of number, right? Your offspring is going to be that great. And what we know is that Israel is scattered everywhere in the world, right? Everywhere in the world are Israelites, right? And that is because that's what was promised to our forefather Abraham, right? Did you read verse 6?
No. You want verse 6?
Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 6, and he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness.
And he was counted for righteousness because he believed in the Most High, right? Let's go to Genesis 22 and start at verse 2.
Genesis chapter 22 and verse 2. And he said, take thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of.
Read.
And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which God had told him.
So the Most High is testing Abraham here, and he says, Abraham, take your son, the only son that I love, and you're going to take him and you're going to offer him as a burnt sacrifice, right? Unto this mountain that I'm going to tell you where it is at a future time, right? And what did Abraham do? He rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took 2 of his young men with him and Isaac his son. So he obeyed. He rose up early and he got to it, right? He believed that the Most High could raise Isaac from the dead. Let's get that in Hebrews 11. Hold that in Genesis. Sorry. Hebrews 11 and 19.
It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 11 and verse 19. Accounting that God was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure.
So here we see that Abraham had faith that the Most High would deliver Isaac, and so he had no problem obeying and trusted in the Most High. Right. Let's go back to the Genesis. And read 20. Drop down to 7. 22 and 7.
Genesis chapter 22 and verse 7. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?
And here we'll see Abraham's faith, right? Because Isaac now is curious. You know, his father told him, get up and get your stuff together. We're gonna take a journey, right? And he sees the stuff that Abraham has, and he's like, okay, I see all the supplies to offer a sacrifice, but I don't see the sacrifice. Let's see what Abraham says. Go ahead and read.
And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together.
And so Abraham reaffirms that he's trusting in the Most High, right? Drop down to verse 13.
Verse 13. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked.
I'm sorry. Keep reading. Where were we?
Verse 9.
Read verse 10.
Verse 10. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son.
Read.
And the angel of the Lord called upon him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou have not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me.
And so we see that Abraham was about to do what the Most High had commanded him to do and sacrifice his son, his only son that the Most High loved, right? And the Most High, seeing how faithful Abraham was, he passed the test, right? And so he had his messenger tell Abraham, hold on, don't sacrifice your son, right? You passed the test. I see how faithful you are, how trusting you are in the Most High, how obedient you are. And so let's see what happens. Go ahead and read.
And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering and a steed of his son.
So instead of his son, he was able to, the Most High provided a ram for an offering, right? Just like Abraham said that he would, right? Go to Romans 4 and 20 and read 20 and 21.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 4, verse 20. He staggered not at the promise of God through unbelief.
So he didn't stagger with unbelief, right? But read.
But was strong in faith, giving glory to God, and being fully persuaded that what he had promised, he was able also to perform.
So he believed in the Most High. He trusted in the Most High, and he stood firmly in that, in confidence, right? And the Most High delivered, as he always does, right? Abraham did not do these things, right? And so these are the things that we shouldn't do. We shouldn't panic when promise seems delayed, right? We shouldn't panic when the Most High isn't delivering to us what it is that we desire, right? At the end of the day, it's not about our timeline, because the Most High knows what's best for us. So he's going to deliver when he sees fit, right? And we should take peace and solace in the fact that he's going to deliver when it is best for us, right? So it shouldn't be any panic from Abraham did not devise his own backup plan. He didn't say to himself, okay, I'm going to do your will, and then think, okay, but this is another way that I could do it, right? And a lot of times when we do panic, right, because the Most High isn't blessing us on our timeline, we have a backup plan, right? So it's, I'm going to pray and I'm going to trust in the Most High and I'm going to turn it over to the Most High. But if nothing happens in this amount of time, then this is what I'm going to do, right? And that's not what Abraham does. Abraham fully and completely trusted in the Most High. He was willing to go through with sacrificing his son, right? And so we shouldn't ever question the Most High's ability to deliver, because he will deliver, like he says, always. He's always going to take care of his faithful, right? So as long as you're being faithful, the Most High is going to take care of you. No question, right? And Abraham did not let his circumstances dictate his faith, right? A lot of times what people will do, what we will do is say, well, this is just the circumstance that I'm in, right? There's really nothing that I can do about it. I'm just going to let what happens happen, right? When the reality is, no, there are a lot of things that you can do about it, right? You can, A, first pray, right? And then B, you can make an earnest, righteous effort to make whatever wrong right, right? So those are two things that you can do instead of just letting the circumstances decide what happens to you, right? Pray and trust in the Most High, and then do what you can to make it right. Let's get 1 Samuel chapter 13 and start at verse 8. We're going to see the Bible offers an example of what it is to not have that rest, right? Go ahead and read that.
This is the first book of Samuel, chapter 13, and verse 8. And he tarried 7 days, according to the set time that Samuel had appointed. But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. Read on.
So, we're going to read to 14.
And Saul said, bring hither a burnt offering to me, and peace offering. And he offered the burnt offering. And it came to pass that as soon as he had made an end of the offering, soon as he had made an end of the offering, the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came. And
Samuel was getting impatient, right? He saw the army, and it was giving him anxiety. He was supposed to be waiting for, Saul was getting anxious, right? He was supposed to be waiting for Samuel, but he saw the army, right? And he started getting impatient, and he started worrying, and he started saying, he started thinking that he needed to do something to make his situation better, right? So what did he do, right? Instead of waiting, instead of trusting in the Most High, he took matters into his own hands, right? He, with all audacity, right, decided that he was going to give the sacrifice, right? And lo and behold, as soon as he gives the sacrifice, Saul pulls up, right? Read.
And Saul went out to meet him, that he might salute him. Verse 11. And Samuel said, what hast thou done? And Saul said, because I saw that the people were scattered from me, and that thou camest not within the days appointed, that the Philistines gathered themselves together at Michmash. Therefore, said I, the Philistines will come down now upon me to Gilgal, and I have not made supplication unto the Lord. I forced myself, therefore, and offered a burnt offering. And Samuel said to Saul, thou hast done foolishly.
Thou hast done foolishly. Read.
Thou hast not kept the commandment of the...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Not kept the commandment of the Lord thy God.
Thou hast not kept the commandment of the Lord thy God, right? So now he's moved he had already moved from rest to no rest, right? This is just confirming it. Read.
which he commanded thee. For now would the Lord have established thy kingdom upon Israel forever.
So the Most High was going to establish the kingdom on him, right? Read.
But now thy kingdom shall not continue. The Lord hath sought him a man after his own heart, and the Lord have commanded him to be captain over his people, because thou have not kept that which the Lord commanded thee.
This is the type of consequence that we don't really have the opportunity to receive anymore, right? We don't get that immediate judgment. We don't see. It doesn't look like this, right? It doesn't look like a messenger from the Most High. We don't, unfortunately, have prophets like they did back in this time, right? We don't have someone who can tell us your kingdom is going to be rent from you now because of your actions. We don't have that kind of feedback, right? So I can't even imagine what it must have felt like to know that because of my actions, my kingdom is going to be destroyed. I have now lost the cover of my God because I was impatient, right? And to have that confirmed to my face, I couldn't imagine what that's like, right? But it's not good. And the things that we have, when we continue to deny the judgment of the Most High, is death, right? That's one of the things that we can look forward to when we are not obedient to the Most High, right? And not only death, but there are a lot of judgments that the Most High puts us through before that death. But that's the one thing that we can count on, right? We're gonna get that death here in this world, and then we're gonna get that forever death because we didn't keep the commandments, right? There's no coming back from that. Read. Let's jump to to chapter 18. Chapter 18 and start at verse 6.
This is the first book of Samuel, chapter 18 and verse 6. And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the woman came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul, with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music.
So when the army is returning back from slaughtering the Philistines, right, the women are cheering and they're praising the valiant men of armor, right? Read.
And the woman answered one another as they played, and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s.
And so the women are reciting back and forth to one another. Saul has slain his thousands. David has slain his 10,000s, right? Read.
And Saul was very wroth, and the saying displeased him. And he said, they have ascribed unto David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom? So
this is Saul. This is Saul's jealousy and anxiety rearing its head, right? This is what life is like without that rest, without that peace, without that cover from the Most High. So now he's consumed with jealousy, right? And now in his mind, because David is getting this praise and he's getting the praise over him, the king, the last thing for him to lose, or the next thing, or the ultimate thing for him to lose is his kingdom to David, right? Read verse 9 yet.
Verse 9. And Saul eyed David from that day and forward.
And so Saul, from that day forward, kept an eye on David, right? Because he was jealous of him, he watched him particularly, right? He was anxious about David, right? He didn't trust him anymore, right? He was jealous of him, right? And so he couldn't get any peace because of the way that he felt about David, right? he actually, it says, after David's victory over Goliath, Saul was consumed with jealousy. He could not rest, spending years chasing David instead of trusting Yahweh's plan for his kingdom, right? And let's get 1 Samuel chapter 28. Verse 5, we're going to read 5 through 7, and then we're going to drop down to 13.
This is the first book of Samuel, chapter 28, and verse 5. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that have a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And the servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that have a familiar spirit at Endor.
So Saul, now he's looking for help. He's looking for guidance from the Most High. And of course, the Most High has left him, right? And so what does he do? He goes and seeks a witch. He goes and seeks a soothsayer, right? Someone who has the abilities of communicating with the dead, right? And let's see what he does. Read 13 to 20.
Verse 13. And the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, what form is he of? And she said, an old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel. And he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, why have thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, wherefore then doeth thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? Verse 17. And the Lord have done to him as he has spake by me, for the Lord have rent the kingdom out of thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David.
So a confirmation that he's losing the kingdom to David, right? Read.
Because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord.
Because you disobeyed the Most High. Read.
Nor executeth his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore have the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines. And tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. And the Lord also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. Then Saul fell straightway all along on the earth, and was sore afraid because of the words of Samuel. And there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all the day, nor all the night.
So now Saul, hearing his judgment, right? Hearing his demise, he's faint, right? He has no more physical power to hold himself up, because he now understands that this is the end for him because of his disobedience, right? Let's get another example of Saul's actions against David. Go to chapter 19 and start at 11.
This is the first book of Samuel, chapter 19 and verse 11. Saul also sent messengers unto David's house to watch him and to slay him in the morning.
So this is Saul now wanting to kill David. Read.
And Michal, David's wife, told him, saying, If thou save not thy life tonight, tomorrow thou shalt be slain.
So Michal, David's wife, who is Saul's daughter, is saying, look, if you don't get out of here, if you don't protect yourself, if you're gonna be dead by the morning, right? Read.
So Michal led David down through a window, and he went and fled and escaped. And Michal took an image and laid it in the bed, and put a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster, and covered it with a cloth. And when Saul sent messengers to take David, she said, he is sick.
Drop down to 17.
Verse 17. And Saul said unto Michal, why have thou deceived me so, and sent away mine enemy, that he escaped?
So now he's calling David his enemy. This is Michal's husband. Read.
And Michal answered Saul, he said unto me, let me go. Why should I kill thee? So David fled and escaped, and came to Samuel to Ramah, and told him all that Saul had done to him. And he and Samuel went and dwelt in Naioth. And it was told Saul, saying, behold, David is at Naioth in Ramah. And Saul sent messengers to take David. And when they saw the company of the prophets prophesying, and Samuel standing as appointed over them, the Spirit of God was upon the messengers of Saul, and they also prophesied.
All right, that's all I needed. So that's another example of how David, or Salakia, how Saul felt about David, and how he was actually trying to take this man's life, because his existence now threatened his kingdom, right? And after the final desperation, you can go back to the presentation. After Saul's final act of desperation, right, where he reaches out to the witch, he's given his final judgment, and the Most High had condemned him to death, and sure enough, he dies the next day, right? Because of his wickedness, because he could not trust in the Most High, right? He couldn't wait for Yahweh's timing, right? He made decisions out of fear. He obsessed over perceived threats, right? David wasn't a threat to him, but he was a perceived threat. He felt like David was a threat, and so he wanted to slay him, right? He sought solutions outside of the Most High. He decided to take it upon himself to handle his problems, right? And because of these things, he lost peace, and then ultimately lost the kingdom and his life, right? And so Saul's story warns us anxiety-driven decisions lead to spiritual destruction, right? When we can't rest in Yahweh, we make choices that compound our problems. And we've probably all done this at one time or another. I know I certainly have, right? Where things are, we're in a tight spot, we're in a bad situation, and instead of trusting in the Most High, instead of praying first and asking for guidance, we say, okay, I need to figure this out. I need to figure this out, right? And so you're thinking through anxiety, through stress, you're trying to think of a solution, right? And then you come up with something and you go to execute that. And what does it do? It makes the situation worse, right? This is what it's talking about, right? These are the things that we aren't supposed to do. These are the things that make it difficult, if not impossible, for us to rest in the Most High. And so this is what resting in the Most High, this is resting in modern Babylon, right? As scattered Israelites in these last days, we face unique pressures. Here's how rest applies to our daily challenges, right? Work ethic. Grab 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10.
This is the second book of Thessalonians, chapter 3, and verse 10. For even when we were with you, this we command you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat.
So it says right here, if you're not working, guess what? You're not eating. What that means is if you're not putting in your brick, right? If you're not doing your part to keep the community thriving. If you're not doing your part to take care of your family, if you're not doing your part to take care of your responsibilities, then you're on your own. You're not going to have the covering of the Most High. And Proverbs 10:22 tells us, the blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it, right? So when you're working diligently, right, you have the ability to you don't get that anxiety. You don't get the anxiety, that provision, that your blessings, right? Your wages are solely dependent on what it is that you do, what it is that you have figured out, what it is that you have worked for. But you get the peace of mind knowing that all your labor, if it's righteous, is going to be rewarded, right? And you're going to be given all that you need, right? Financial stress, right? Economic instability, something that the children of Israel deal with more so than probably any other nation on this planet, right? It's all designed to make us fearful, right? It's all designed to make us anxious. It's all designed to make us feel uncertain, right? Uncertain about our well-being, uncertain about our future and our children's future, right? But when we trust that the Most High will provide, actually we're supposed to trust that the Most High is going to provide, right? That's what Scripture says. But that doesn't mean that we don't also take steps to ensure our financial security, right? We are supposed to budget wisely and not spend money as soon as we get it, right? We're supposed to alms, right, or pay our alms faithfully. We're supposed to provide financially for the continuing of your community, right, your church, your congregation, right? These things aren't provided for free, right? You have to, if you're a member of a community, you have to be willing to give to that community financially and through work, right? So we're supposed to do these things, do wise things in order to secure our financial situation. And we're not supposed to let money or the anxieties that come with money in this world steal our peace, right? Philippians 4:19 says, "My God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory," right? So all your needs are going to be taken care of when you're moving in righteousness, right? Also family concerns, right? Children, marriages, elderly parents. These are real burdens. They don't need to be our burdens, though, right? We can turn these over to the Most High, pray over our family daily, and then release the outcome to Him, right? Don't carry the burdens that come with a family by yourself. Don't feel like you have to solve everything, but turn these things over to the Most High, right? And then do your part, right? Grab Proverbs 22:6.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, and verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he shall not depart from it.
So this is the thing that you do besides praying, right? You work diligently to train up your child, your children, according to these commandments, according to what the Bible says, the way that we are to train them, right? And that's the work that you do. And when you do that effectively, you're able to get that peace, right? You're able to turn over your burdens to the Most High, trusting that because of the work that you put in, your children are also going to move according to His will, right? Another challenge is world events, right? Wars, rumors of wars, economic collapse. These things are all prophesized. These things are all things that are being talked about daily, on a daily basis today, right? But they're all prophesied in Matthew 24, 6 through 8, right? Don't be troubled. When ye shall see these things come to pass, know that it is nigh, right? That's Mark 13 and 29. Know that when we're seeing these things, wars, rumors of wars, economic collapse, this is the time, right? This is a clear sign that it's time for us to get our act together, right? Persecution, right? When ridiculed for keeping the Sabbath, keeping the dietary laws or the feast days, we have the ability to rest knowing that we're on the side of the Most High, right? We're on the side of the Most High God, the most powerful God, the creator of everything, right? The only living God. This is the side that we are on because we have made a choice to be on this side, and we are working to be on the right side. Read Matthew 5 and 11 when you have it.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 11. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake.
Blessed are we who, when faced with all of these things that men can say and do to us, right, that people can say and do to us for holding fast to these commandments, know that the Most High is going to bless us, right? Jump to 10 and verse 28.
Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to kill both soul and body in hell.
So we saw examples of this in the Maccabees, right? The mother and her sons, right, and how her sons were tortured to death in front of one another. They were dismembered, they were fried, and then they were killed. They were executed in front of one another, right? And that mother had to endure all of this, right? But not only did she endure, she strengthened her son. Obviously, she had raised him according to the commandments. She strengthened and exalted them and was able to help them endure the torture that they were receiving as well, right? And here it says clearly, don't worry about what man can do to you, because he can only hurt you physically, right? He can only hurt your flesh, right? He can only take your life, right? But rather, fear and do the will of the Most High, because he has the ability to not only take this life, he has the ability to take every next life and life eternally from you, right? He has the ability to eternally destroy your soul. So don't worry about what man can do to you, because the Most High can do much worse to you, right? So that's who you should be following. That's who you should be trusting. That's who you should be resting in, right? Grab 1 Corinthians 6 and 19.
This is the first book of Corinthians, chapter 6 and verse 19. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not your own?
So we are to follow the dietary laws. We're supposed to take care of our bodies. We are supposed to eat according to the food that is lawful to us, right? We're also supposed to make sure that we're eating, that we're not overeating, that we're not stuffing and gorging ourselves, right? And we're also supposed to make sure that we're eating as cleanly and as healthily as we can, right? And that can be challenging for a lot of us based on the environments that we live in, right? They have here set up food deserts, right? Where the only food that's available to you in your neighborhood, in your community, is gas station food, junk food, right? Convenience store food, right? So you don't have the ability to easily get to somewhere where you can buy fresh food, fresh produce, right? It's difficult to find actually clean, healthy meats that were processed healthily, right? That were processed without contaminants. It's very difficult here in Babylon to eat well, right? And because of that, a lot of us are faced with health anxieties, diseases. The way that we battle that is by obeying these commandments, right? First and foremost, eating according to the dietary laws, right? Being diligent in making sure that we can, as best as possible, eat healthily, right? You shouldn't be feeding yourself or your kids junk food, right? Ever. There's no reason for it, right? You have to make best effort, whether it's planning, whether it's making it a higher priority, but you got to take care of your temple and you got to take care of yourself, right? Let's grab Matthew 6:27.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, and verse 27. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature?
So none of us have the ability to just think about improving our physical stature, physical selves. We can't just think and correct the ailments in our body, right? We don't have that power, but the Most High does, right? And so he has the power, even if we're not able to get the kind of healthy, clean foods that are best for us, right? Because of our circumstances, because of our situation. As long as we're being diligent in the effort that we're putting forth, we can trust that the Most High is going to take care of our bodies, right? He's going to protect us from the impurities, right? This is why we pray over our food, because we have that trust, that understanding that the Most High is going to do his will to ensure that we're getting the proper nutrients from the foods, from the efforts that we're putting in to nourish ourselves, right? So this is what it looks like when you rest in the Most High versus not resting, right? When you trust in the Most High's timing, you trust in the Most High's timing even when it's not on your time frame, right? You trust that the Most High is going to deliver to you exactly what you need, exactly when you need it, right? You pray first, and then you act in obedience, right? You pray, and then you act diligently according to the commandments, right? You acknowledge the Most High in all your decisions, right? You acknowledge that the Most High is the one who provided for you what it is that you have, right? You work diligently, and you're able to work diligently without anxiety, right? Without stress, without the weight and heaviness, because you're trustful that you're going to be rewarded, not necessarily based on what you're doing at your job or what you're doing with your labor, but the intent behind that labor, right? Because you're working for the Most High, he's going to take care of you. You'll be able to sleep peacefully, trusting that the Most High is going to deliver the outcome that he sees fit, right? Which is more than enough for you. You're able to respond to trials with faith, right? You're not questioning what the outcome is going to be, right? You're not anxious about the outcome. You're not a Debbie Downer. You're not one whose communication is a pessimist, right? But you know that the Most High is going to deliver. So even with your communication, you're responding in faithfulness, right? You're responding with a peace, with an understanding that the Most High is going to give you what it is that you need, right? One maintains joy regardless of circumstance, right? So any circumstance that you're in, you're able to take it all with joy, like the scripture says, because you know that this is just a trial that the Most High is putting you through, and that you're going to be able to overcome it when you trust in Him, right? And the focus is on obedience, right? Not outcome. You're not focused with what the reward is going to be. Your focus is on doing the work, right? Your focus is on remaining righteous, is on keeping these commandments, right? And when you're not able to have that rest, right? When you're not able to rest in the Most High, that restlessness looks like taking matters into your own hands, right? When you've prayed to the Most High and you're not being delivered the outcome that you want in the time frame that you desire it, you default to that backup plan, right? You say to yourself, well, I gotta figure it out, right? And then you go and do your own thing, right? You act first and then you pray later, if at all, right? You decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and then you go and do that thing, not even thinking about asking the Most High for guidance, not even thinking about asking the Most High for wisdom, right? You take it upon yourself like you have the ability to get the outcome that you want, right? You lean on your own understanding and on your own logic and reason, right? You decide that you have what it takes to figure it all out, right? You're stressed, you're overworked, and you're burnt out, right? And you're all of these things because your efforts are in vain, right? It's for your own vainglory rather than for serving the Most High, right? And you're filled with sleepless nights because you can't stop worrying, right? You're not able to get actually peaceful rest, that rejuvenative, rest, because you're not able to get that deep sleep, because you're not able to get that REM sleep, that restoring sleep, right? And this is all because you're not trusting in the Most High. Your mind is racing, trying to come up with solutions. Your mind doesn't stop racing just because you've dozed off, right? If you're anxious about the things that you're going through in your life, your mind is still thinking about these things, right? And so you're not getting that peaceful sleep because your body is doing too much work. Your mind is getting too much work, right? You respond to trials with fear and anxiety rather than peace, because of the lack of effort that you're putting in, right? Your joy depends on the circumstance, right? You're not maintaining joy regardless of your circumstance, but the circumstances depends. It determines how joyful you are, right? You're moody, right? You're up one time, down another, right? These are symptoms of what restlessness looks like, right? You're obsessed over controlling outcomes, right? You are obsessed with making sure that the outcome that you want is the outcome that happens, right? And what that can look like is now you're offending others, right? Because you're being too pushy, or you're being too bossy, or you're not being considerate of what others are going through, right? When you put yourself over everything else, right? That's what that looks like. That's a result of that restlessness, right? It looks like anxiety, it's confusion, and it's poor decisions. Let's go back to the presentation, right? We're going to talk about actionable steps, right? What you can do to cultivate rest. These are some daily things that you could do, right? In the morning, Just surrender yourself to the Most High, right? Before your feet hit the floor, acknowledge Yahweh. Speak, this day belongs to you. Direct my paths, right? And that's something you can do even before you get out of bed to pray, right? If that's the first thought that you have, if you start with that first thought in the morning, you tell yourself, this day is yours, Yahweh, and you ask for your path to be directed. You've already put your mind, your heart into that right position or that right gear to get your day started in the right direction, right? Another thing you can do is read that Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6 aloud each morning. Do it for 30 days, right? And that'll definitely get you much closer to cultivating rest, right? Midday reset, right? Set an alarm for noon. Pause for 2 minutes of prayer. Cast any burdens that you have endured, you have accumulated throughout the day onto the Most High, right? And you can read Psalm 55 and 22 as your midday meditation, right? And then your evening release before you go to sleep at night, before you pray or after you pray. Release the day's worries, right? Make sure that you release all of the worries that you've accumulated throughout the day, right? List 3 things that the Most High provided for you. So think about your day. Think about 3 things that the Most High did for you. That should be easy, right? If you've made it to the end of the day, then there are an endless number of ways that the Most High blessed and provided for you, right? So come up with just 3 and list them, right? And then speak, I rest in hope, right? That's Psalms 16 and 9. Let your flesh rest in hope, right? And you recite this, tell yourself this, right? And then this is how you go about cultivating a reset in the evening, right? So you have 3 opportunities throughout the day to cultivate rest. And then you have the weekly Sabbaths. Make sure that you're fully taking advantage of the weekly Sabbaths, right? It's a day that the Most High commended for us to rest, right? And this is the rest that he was talking about, not necessarily resting from manual labor, because there's still work that needs to get done on the Sabbath, the work of the Most High, but rest yourself from the burdens of the world. Rest yourself from any anxieties, from any fears, you actually have a day dedicated to you for that, so you don't always have to take it upon yourself to cultivate that opportunity, right? You have a built-in day every week to rest, and this is what that rest looks like. So take advantage of it. Take full advantage of it, right? Clear your mind of anything that might be burdening you and holding you down, and just enjoy the Sabbath in righteousness with your congregation. You can commit to 1 rest scripture per week to memory, right? When anxiety rises, you can speak the word. The sword of the Spirit defeats worry, right? So you always have the scriptures that you can remember, that you'll be able to pull from memory and recite when you're starting to feel anxious. And then you can also create a burden journal, right? Write down your worries, then write cast over them and the date. And then you can review it monthly to see how the Most High resolved what you surrendered, right? So now you have the opportunity to have a record of how an actual tangible record that you can look at to see how the Most High has blessed you. A lot of the times, some of the burdens that we have, when the Most High does see fit to bless us, we don't even remember them, right? They're in the past and we're not thinking about them again, right? How many burdens, right? How many things that you were stressed out about that you didn't see a way out of, and the Most High made way, and now you can't even remember it. Read Philippians 4 and 6.
This is the book of Philippians. Second. You said what chapter?
Chapter 4 and verse 6.
Chapter 4 and verse 6. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God.
So with prayer and supplication, you have the ability to let your requests be known to the Most High, right? And you don't have to burden yourself with trying to come up with the answer. Turn it over to the Most High. If you have a community, if you have a congregation, which you should, because it's incredibly beneficial, here are some check-ins and accountabilities that you can do, right? Read Ecclesiastes 4, 9, and 10.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 9. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he have not another to help him up.
So this is a reason. This is one. This is why accountability matters, right? Scriptures show us that we're not designed to journey alone. We're not designed to walk alone, right? It talks about even the laws are a lot of the laws are geared toward how we should deal with one another within a community, right? Within a nation. And so even in our laws, the laws are geared toward how we operate amongst one another, right? So it was never a situation where we were supposed to be moving as individuals, right? And accountability matters because, as the scriptures say, when one falls, the other is there to pick that one up, right, and vice versa. So at the very least, two individuals have the opportunity to carry one's burden to help the other out, and vice versa, right? Anxiety thrives in isolation, right? When you're anxious, when you have issues on your mind, right? When there's something that's bothering you, it always feels good to get that out, right? And when you sit on it, it doesn't do anything but make you more anxious. It doesn't do anything but make it worse. And it certainly doesn't improve by not talking about it, right? And so another thing you can do is find a partner. Choose someone who keeps the commandments, speaks truth, and can be trusted with your struggles, and will pray with and for you, right? So find a partner, find someone that you can trust, find someone that you feel like you can rely on, and make them your accountability partner for prayer, right? And then you have another opportunity is you can do check-ins, right? Check-in questions. And this is a great way to keep a record of how you're being blessed, right? What burdens did you struggle to cast, right? Where did you lean on your own understanding, and how did Yahweh direct your paths, right? So when did you go astray? When did you try to take matters into your own hands? And how did the Most High reveal the correct path to reveal what you were supposed to do, right? Proverbs 27 and 17 is iron sharpeneth iron, so iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend, right? We're supposed to sharpen one another. We're supposed to make one another better, right? These are the benefits of not moving as an individual, but having people around you that you can trust on, that you can rely on, that want the best for you, right? If you're in a community where everyone wants the best for you, then everyone is going to receive what's best for them based on, what is based on the diligent efforts of everyone else, right? And that's why it's important to make sure that your efforts are diligent, right? Another thing that you can do is reach out to our prayer ministry, right? We have a whole prayer ministry of elders and others, we call prayer warriors, who take those burdens from those that reach out and pray on them and turn them over to the Most High, right? Like Galatians 6:2 says, we share one another's burdens, right? We help lift those burdens off of you. And then if you want an assignment for yourself, right, identify one person for accountability, right? Commit to a weekly 15-minute check-in on rest and trust, right? That's something that you can do this week. Some key takeaways from the class. One is rest in trust, right? So rest means to surrender, giving the trust to the Most High that He is going to resolve your situation completely, right? Not through your own efforts or lack thereof, but by diligently doing His will and by surrendering to Him the future, right? Surrendering to Him the outcome. Two, you cast forcefully, right? Don't gently place burdens, but hurl them at the Most High, Yahweh. He commands it and promises to sustain you, right? So there's no reason why we need to try to carry these burdens on our own. We have the opportunity, the ability, we're commanded to cast them, throw them on the Most High, right? And relieve ourselves of that burden, relieve ourselves of that weight, right? And obedience is what enables that peaceful rest, right? Sin disrupts rest. So keeping the commandments is the foundation for experiencing this restful peace, right? So we have to keep the commandments. Hope anchors rest. Our confident expectation in the Most High's promises restoration, resurrection, and allows our flesh to rest, right? When we hope in the Most High, when we turn over our desires, our wishes, our hopes to the Most High and not vainly try to get what it is that we desire fleshly, we are returned with that restful rest, right? With that peaceful rest, that truly, deeply restorative rest, right? Also, a community matters. Accountability partners and congregational support help us walk in rest and catch us when we stumble, right? This is why community matters, right? And then don't forget your daily practice, right? Your morning surrender, your midday reset, and your evening release build rest into your daily rhythm through intentional routines, right? So these are things that you can do throughout your day that will bring you closer to that rest. Proverbs 3:6 is, in all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy path. You want to grab Wisdom of Solomon 3:1. So go and rest in the Most High. This world demands that you worry, right? The system is designed to keep us scattered, to keep us pushed towards anxiety, to keep us pushed towards our fleshly desires. But we're separate from these other people, right? We are children of the covenant of the Most High, right? We have promises from the Most High God, the only living God. We have these promises that the other nations don't have, right, as children of Israel. And so we can trust, cast, rest, and obey in that fact, in that understanding, right? But we have to do the work. Go ahead and read that.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3 and verse 1. But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of God, and there shall no torment touch them.
So as long as we're righteous, we remain righteous, the Most High is going to keep his protection on us. You can come back to us. The Most High is going to keep his protection on us. He's going to keep us protected. He's going to keep us away from trouble and torment, right? And he's not going to give us more than we can bear, right? But the key is that we have to remain righteous. We have to keep the commandments, right? We have to do what this book says. If you don't have anything to add, with that, we'll say all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Like, share, subscribe, and continue to keep the faith and rest in the Most High. Shalom.
If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson would've known.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't